have been on time. So we will get started. We'll probably have more guests joining us shortly. Okay, let's get started. Hello, everybody. Alan Wang with Keller Williams, Santa Clara Valley. I am the owner and operating principal, as we call it, in the Keller Williams world. Also founder of the Alan Wang Realty Group as well. A lot of you we've done deals together. Some of us, we will be doing deals together. Been a realtor for over the last 18 years, run a team. I guess we ranked in California, the 54th this year from 63rd last year in California. Really blessed to do that and be able to do that with our team. And it would not have been possible without a team. And that's the bottom line here is why you're here. We're going to tell you at a high level how we build teams. If you want more details, we here at Keller Williams, Santa Clara Valley, since we've been there, we know how to help you do that. I'm going to pour into you today the last 8 years of all the painful lessons I've learned of building a team and passing it on to you. So hopefully you don't make the same mistakes that I did. So let's get started. Again, you guys kind of heard who I am. We've launched this Keller Williams Santa Clara Valley office about a year and a half ago during COVID, very tough times. But if you're looking for a new office or a team that can help you take your career to the next level, reach out to me or Laura, who's on this call as well, our team leader over here, and we are happy to chat with you more about how to take your business to the next level. First things first, I want to teach about is this book. This red book changed my life. And this is a book written by our Keller Williams founder, Gary Keller. He was the first to figure out that it was not sustainable to have a single person show. You all know what I mean, and we'll talk about that later. I used to do everything, and some of you might still do everything. And again, that's kind of what it is. You have to do that as an agent as you start out. You learn everything, you do everything, and you get to a certain point where you realize you can't anymore. But this book changed my life. If you want a copy, just ping us. We'll get you one. We'll send it over to you. You can pick it up in our office. We'll get you one. But what I wanted to zoom in on is this word millionaire. Millionaire. When I was first given this book by a team leader at Keller Williams, I looked at the book and I said, oh, what a cute title. Oh, millionaire real estate agent. That's so cute. What a great title. But as I learned over the years, this is not a cute title. You can become a millionaire in the real estate business. And we're talking $1 million GCI every year if you build a team. It's very difficult to do on your own. Very difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you may not sleep at all and you may not see your family again, but it's possible. But really what this book talks about is how do you succeed through others, not just through yourself. I think sometimes us realtors, we're superstars, right? We do everything on our own and we want to look great. That's great, but I'm telling you, you cannot succeed alone. And the whole point of this class is to learn from those that came before you. And this book does that. It interviews tons of real estate teams in the Bay Area, helps you. And today we're going to use my team as a case study. For those of you that are new on this call, I want to get some myths out of the way about being an agent. And some of you that are mid-level or veterans in this business, you kind of will chuckle too. If you're a new agent on this call, I just want to dispel a few myths out there. A lot of folks think, oh, easy money. Yeah, I get it. Average home price is $1.25 million. I understand how you have a perception that, GCI of, 30K was just a lot of money. Sure, I sell 5 houses, I make my salary in tech. Yeah, yes and no. It's not actually as easy as you think. The money is not easy. There's never easy money. You have to work hard in this job. And I will tell you that unlike your tech jobs or your other jobs, folks, you'll see them succeeding just because they're good talkers or charismatic, or maybe they're brown nosing with the boss. This is not one of those businesses. If you work hard, you can have a really good living in this business, and there's nobody to tell you no. And that's what I love about this business. A lot of folks think it's an easy job. Oh, I love watching House Hunters. And let me tell you, House Hunters, I've been on it. That's not the whole job, right? There are a lot of personalities to manage. Unreasonable sellers, unreasonable buyers, conflicts, loan agents not doing their job. It's a different thing every day. It's not an easy job at all. If it were easy, everybody will do it. If it were easy, not so many agents would fail out of this business, unfortunately, which happens a lot. A flexible schedule, yes and no. Is flexible, yes. You can go take your kids, pick them up from school and all that. But as you get busier and busier in the business, it will consume you. And so, yes, if you're only selling 4 houses a year, yeah, you got a lot of time on your hands. But can you sustain that 4 homes a year? Because you have to do more than that usually to keep this business going. But if you're decently busy, it can really consume you. So it's not as flexible as you think. Yeah, you can go do your things, but get ready to lose your weekends and lose your nights. It's a lot of work. Oh, I love looking at open houses. I love it. Let me tell you, it's not just about the open houses. Like I told you, a lot of other things to manage. All my friends will use me. This is a good one. I actually got a call from a new agent in her office last night, really frustrated that somebody in her church didn't use her. And I told her, look, you got to take a step back. You're not going to get everybody. And people have their reasons. Sometimes the close friends don't want to tell you their finances or show you their finances. Some of them are competitive. Some of them don't feel comfortable mixing, or they don't think you have enough experience because you're new, or whatever the reason is, or their personalities don't jive with you. They have their reasons. So majority of your friends will, but not all of them will. And you can't be upset about that. Next slide here is the 5 joys of being an agent. But I do love being an agent. And number 1 is, of course, helping people with the biggest transaction of their lives. This is a big deal. This transaction is the biggest transaction they'll make from a dollar perspective. And being a part of that was what I love. Number 2 is a people business. I personally love people. If it weren't for the people, I wouldn't be in this business anymore. And I hope you do too. Now, not everyone, there's introverts, there's extroverts. The extroverts love this business because they can be in front of people all day long. Introverts, fine, you can do it too, but I know sometimes you need to go home and just decompress at night. Fine, that's completely okay as well. But it is a people business. The bottom line is, if you don't like people, you should get out of this business. It's the wrong business for you. I've actually met agents that clearly don't like people. They don't like agents. They don't like title companies. They don't like their own clients. And that can last very long because you're going to burn out, because the business is all about people. And I mentioned this earlier, there's something different every day, which kind of makes it fun. Right? I mean, if you go to work and you're pushing the same button and running the same test at Cisco every day, I see some of my old coworkers doing, been running that for 25 years. I'm going, oh gosh. Or listen to some of my wife's calls, and they're talking about the same JIRA ticket bugs. And go, oh my gosh. I used to be that life, but glad I'm not anymore. It's definitely something different every day. And then you get to be your own boss. This is the pros and cons, right? Pros and cons, but being your own boss means you got to keep yourself accountable. There's no one else to tell you what to do. Hopefully you have the motivation to do that, to keep yourself motivated. We have a lot of freedom on that front. Financial security, again, once you get established. In the beginning, yes, nothing's easy, right? In the beginning, you're a little startup. You might have to invest more than you're bringing in, but you're hoping that investment is going to pay off. And hopefully after this class is more of a hope. We don't like hope. That's not a strategy. We want a plan, the execution plan to actually get you there. Well, let's talk about MREA, and this is in the book 202. I live and die by this chart. I absolutely love this chart. It kind of walks you through the different levels of a team. I'm going to start with the U one. For those of you that are solo, and I've been there, I was actually solo for about 11 years. I did everything. I even nailed my own signs into the dirt. I had a shed full of staging, partial staging items. I did everything, and I did my own TC work. I did absolutely everything. Let's talk about part-time versus full-time. I will tell you, I was part-time for about 11 years, believe it or not. But I'm also not extremely normal. Not a lot of folks can multitask. So you got to look at yourself and decide if part-time is a means to an end, that's great. Where you may not want to give up your day job if you're not sure you're going to make it in this business. And so there's nothing wrong with slow rolling it. But then what I find is if you look in yourself and you're just not the type to multitask. I've had people join my team and they're part-time and they just couldn't multitask and they just end up focusing on their full-time jobs rather than their part-time job. Well, that's a problem, right? If you know you can't multitask, then you're never going to make it at part-time, right? And so maybe it's better for you. They know I really want to do real estate. I should just quit my job and go full-time. There's pros and cons, right? This is safe, but this really lights a fire under yourself. Hey, I'm not going to get another paycheck if I don't go get some business. This could be really good as well. I ended up going the part-time approach because the income was trailing my tech income. I was having a good tech career. So I decided to do it. But then as soon as I quit tech, that's when my business exploded, right? So, but again, there was 11 years to build it up and then take it to the next level. So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I've seen it work both ways. I've seen part-time agents, but do it really well and eventually turn full-time. And I've seen people go in right away and succeed as well. So it really depends on you. And I think you really have to look at your job. Can I do it part-time? Do I have enough flexibility to do it part-time? Can I work nights? Can I work weekends? Is my significant other okay with that? A lot of questions that you need to ask yourself here. It takes a certain type of person to do this, the part-time, and to work 2 jobs. Now, looking at this slide, talking about all the things you do as an agent, you do everything as a solo. You lead generate. You do the marketing. You're the accounting department. You're the transaction coordinator. You're the sign person. You're the event planner. You're the business planning person. You're the IT person. It's rough. I mean, it's rough. And when you're starting out, it is what it is. I mean, you might be, the first thing you might be able to do is transaction coordinator to get that off your plate. But this is a lot. This is a lot to do. And so you have to really look at the pros and cons, right? As a solo agent, I'm my own boss. The pros are own boss. I don't need to take orders. I have complete freedom. I know the business inside out. There's no headaches. You're no one to manage but yourself, which is nice, right? Anytime you inject people, when there's two people in a room, there's going to be conflict. And not all of us agents enjoy that. And you also get to retain your commission. You don't have to share with anybody. You don't have to pay an assistant. You don't have to pay a TC. You don't have to pay anybody, right? You get high margins on this. But there are a lot of cons. As your own boss, you got to find the motivation to get up and lead yourself. This is not easy. I've noticed with a lot of agents that they get burnout. Why do I want to wake up today and go do my calls, right? Oh gosh, I'd rather stay at home and watch Days of Our Lives. I mean, why do I want to do this? Oh, what's on Netflix today? And this is kind of why I hate working from home, because there's a lot of distractions at home. I like going in the office and actually focusing and, hey, this is my workplace. I'm working. I'm not sitting at home watching zombie shows, which I love, by the way. But you got to find the motivation to lead yourself. And that's not easy. Not everyone can do this every day. Not everyone's wired that way. And then you're going to learn slower as a solo agent. Again, yeah, you retain the commission. And I see new agents make this mistake a lot. Oh, I'm not going to sign up with a mentor. I'm not going to get coaching. And then they end up making tons of mistakes and taking off their clients and really learning it the hard way where they could have learned it quicker. So don't be penny wise, pound foolish, right? I mean, you're counting the pennies, but an agent who's bringing you over a decade of experience, you're not going to match that. You're just not. You're not going to be able to get over the curve fast enough by yourself. And it's also kind of a lonely business. You have nobody to talk to, nobody. Well, yeah, you have your peers in the office, which is great, but you don't have an assistant. You can work with a partner, somebody to bounce ideas off of. I mean, it's kind of lonely, right? Everyone's busy and it's hard to get everyone's time. It can be very lonely. And this is a horrible one. You can't take a vacation. I remember in 11 years, I was even a part-time agent. I had one vacation where I wasn't bothered by anybody. And I remember there was one where I actually asked a colleague of mine to take over for me. And he doesn't care. I mean, it's not his deal. My client was kind of being a headache. She wanted to close on time. It was a little bit late and she was getting all flustered. I was in an internet cafe in Rome, Italy, emailing her, telling her to calm down and trying to talk to her. This is the life of a solo agent. Trying to get somebody to back you up is not easy. Okay. And then you hit a ceiling. How much can you do? How much can you not sleep? How many things can you really, really do? You're going to hit a ceiling. But again, as you're starting out, this is fine. This is a good place to be, but know you cannot be here forever. I kind of talked a little bit about my story already, but I did it part-time for 11 years. I mean, I did it alone. And it's because I started out with 3 to 5 deals a year. Then I was at 8 to 12 deals a year. It was manageable. I could keep up with my email. Every file that came in, I saved it to a folder that I would upload to the system. It was manageable. I mean, I could still do all that stuff. But I did everything, right? I told you all these things that my wife and I would actually go partially stage homes, and all that, and the signs and all that, print flyers, everything. We did absolutely everything. Been there. I know that. But then I remember Keller Williams. I had my MCA at the time. She said, "This is when I quit LinkedIn, and I went from 8 to 12 transactions a year to suddenly 30 from April to August. Or oh my God." And I was dying. I was so tired. I was exhausted. I was going to pick up my check from my MCA. And she said, "Alan, you are killing yourself. You need to go to business planning clinic." And I go to this every year. Keller Williams has this business planning clinic. I get all my planning done in this half a day seminar. I remember Bev Stein, she's a OP as well in Keller Williams. She asked a question. She said, "How much are you worth per hour?" So she goes, "Okay, I want you to write down your GCI." So I wrote down my GCI on a piece of paper. I want you to divide it by 2,080 hours. So assuming you work 40 hours a week. And what's your value per hour? I think at the time, my number was $150 an hour, something like that. Okay. And then she paused. And then she said, "If you're worth whatever you're worth on that piece of paper, why are you doing $15 an hour work?" My head was, what's that character in Dragon Ball Z? My hair was on fire, right? I was going, gosh, why am I doing $15 work? What am I doing? I'm doing everything. This is foolish. This is not the right way, right way to do this. Right? And so I think for you agents out there, again, if you're only doing 3 or 4 deals a year, you need to keep building what you got to build. But if you're starting to the point where you're, X amount per hour, I mean, I don't know, $50 an hour, $100 an hour, whatever that is, it's time to start thinking, do I need to start leveraging? And so for new agents, there's some questions you might want to ask yourself here before we go there though. What if I'm a new agent, I'm struggling? Then yeah, it's not a good time to start thinking about leveraging per se. You should find a mentor, join some productivity coaching, get somebody to keep you accountable, help you move forward. Get more training, right? And like this one you're in, nice job, thanks for coming. And then trial by fire, you're just going to be learning either by yourself or you're going to go up the curve a little bit more with a mentor, and be more long term, right? And again, sometimes you can't. If you got to pay your bills, you got to pay your bills, but think more long term. I think a lot of agents think very short term. I still get these calls from agents. Hey, Alan, can we team up on this deal? I didn't have any value, so I offered them a 1%. I said, well, number one, why the heck is your office, and not our office, different office, is your office allowing you to do 1%? And then number two, you're thinking too short term. Right? You offer that 1%, this person's going to tell all their friends and family that you're a 1% agent, and then you just shot yourself in the foot. You don't want to do that. You need to think more long run. Even if you lose that deal, you cannot go in there offering those bargain basement deals just to get a number. You got to think more long run. And then we could also think about joining a team, and we'll talk about that more later. But it really boils down to leverage, and we'll talk about that more later. And I don't really like this word actually, but it doesn't mean taking advantage of people, but it means leveraging others' skill sets or their abilities and their time, and compensating them for their time as their assistant. So we'll talk more about that in a bit. Now, let's go to partners. This is a big discussion. A lot of folks team up with each other, which is great. The pros are, hey, together we are giant, right? Go Giants. One of the best records in the MLB, if not the best record in MLB. Yeah, two people, always stronger. You won't be lonely anymore. You have another person to bounce your ideas off of. You get to share the load. You have a backup. And then there's synergy, hopefully. I've seen some agents team up, hey, you know what? I'm really good with clients, but I'm horrible with systems. You're really good at systems. Great, let's team up together. Let's partner. So I think that's the way to think about it, is that we can bring something to the table. If you have two people that are really good with customers, then you still need to hire an admin. I'm not saying that's a bad formula, but you might want to find different synergies. That you're good at this, I'm good at that. Let's team up. But I've seen the partnerships really not do well sometimes, though. You got to pick the right partner. I mean, do they share the same goals and work ethic? Most of the time, I see one partner wants it more than the other one. One's willing to pour in more than the other one, and then it just explodes and it blows up and it doesn't work anymore. So it's really about what do each of you bring to the table, and really setting up those expectations. And also, hey, what happens if I start producing more, you start producing less? And we need to cover that scenario. I think a lot of us go into partnerships, I think all different kinds of partnerships in our lives, hopeful. And so we don't talk about the worst case scenarios, but you need to define that. So, okay, hey, what happens if you want out of this partnership? What happens if I'm putting in more, you're putting in more than I am? How do we do this? How do we manage this? I think it's important to discuss with your partner. And I think this is really hard. Even husband and wives, or different spouses or partners, it's hard. Especially, I don't know how husband and wife, duos or spouse duos do it. I couldn't do that. There's just too much of a personal dynamic there. But I've seen that succeed, right? Either different significant others teaming up, or different configurations. If it works, it works. It could be amazing. So when do you know you need to make your first hire? So if you're consistently performing and growing, you can watch your metrics every year. You'll know. You'll see, oh, wow, I doubled my production last year. I doubled it again. Oh, my goodness, I'm doing really well. And also you'll feel it when you're spending your time on tasks that prevent you from being able to meet with clients and lead generate. I see some of you in the office in this manner, where we're having coffee and you're nonstop texting and, oh my gosh, and then you're missing this email. You're behind. Your customer experience is failing because you don't have enough time in the day. So you need to start probably leveraging. And also you need to start making a certain amount of money. So I don't have an exact rule of thumb, but I'm thinking if you're starting to make over 100K a year, it might be time to bring on somebody for 50 some odd K, 60K a year. 150 might be a little safer. So you're pouring that money, and that assistant better at least double their worth, right? They better make you at least 100. Right, if you're paying 50 or 60 or whatever it is, that person better ROI must be at least double. Right. Again, lower level tasks that could be done more than your cost. Right. If you're $150 an hour, then $15 an hour. Either you outsource it to somebody else, or you need to hire somebody. And then there's also tasks you're not good at anyways. You need to look yourself in the mirror. Some of you are horrible transaction coordinators. I know, because Mark and Stacy tell me all the time, and a lot of folks can't even get their files on time. Why are you trying to do it? Right? Don't let a TC do that for you. It's worth every penny. When I gave up TC work, it was the happiest thing ever. At KW, we have something called lead with revenue, where again, if you're barely scraping by, you should not be hiring an assistant or thinking about doing anything like that. Okay, but you gotta have revenue before you dive in. So for you new agents in the room, I want to do farming. Well, maybe you should get a few deals under your belt first before you drop 25K to farm a certain area. You should be careful. Lead with revenue. Well, let's talk about the second model, right? That's a level 1 team. We're talking about level 2 team. This is the assistant. Keller Williams actually has gone back on this and said, you need to hire as many assistants as possible before you hire your first agent. Why is that? Why is that? Well, the reason for this is because when you split with an agent, you know how that is. There's a big split, right? I mean, 25, 50, I mean, that's a big amount of money that you could actually pay to an assistant. And the assistants, I've seen all different models. I actually saw there was a mega agent. She's a solo agent. She has 4 assistants backing her up. And she was on stage with Gary Keller. So that's pretty darn good. I mean, if you can do it that way, where basically your assistant will do all the back end work for you, and all you're doing is going and meeting with customers, it's not a bad deal. Not a bad deal. I'm not saying you do that necessarily, but that is a method. But we talked about this when I was at Century 21. I remember I had a broker who told me, "Oh, Alan, don't get a TC. You know, that $400 adds up." And looking back, that was actually a big mistake of me listening to him on that one. The reason is that's another one of those penny wise, pound foolish, right? He was counting the pennies. Hey, that $300, $400 adds up. But what he didn't realize was that $400 I'm paying him freed up 3 to 4 hours of my day so I can go get more business, which is worth a lot more money than $400 chasing paperwork. That's what he missed. And so that's where you make sure you don't make that same mistake. This must be your first hire. Absolutely. For those of you that don't use TCs, don't spend your money chasing down signatures, or your time chasing down signatures, uploading things into KW Command. Not worth your time. Not worth it. Completely not worth it. $300 to $500. You know, I mean, most of you probably take 3 or 4 hours chasing down all this stuff. Imagine. I mean, again, right? Multiply your time by hour times 4 hours. Be more than this. Much more than this. So get rid of this. Get it off your plate. Okay. And what I love about this is that it's a variable cost. So what a variable cost is that I don't pay my TC until I'm making a sale. And so to this day, I still carry this, because could Alan Wang hire a transaction coordinator full-time to sit here? Yes, Alan Wang could. But Alan Wang doesn't want to deal with that, because I don't want to worry about laying somebody off if things are slow, or worry if they're productive and all that. I'd rather just pay it as a variable cost. If I end up paying them $45K a year, that's okay, because it's a variable cost. Because if things go south, I don't want to have to fire them, lay them off. I don't want to have one-on-ones with them, manage them, all that jazz. Don't want to deal with it, because there's people that are there to take care of that. And honestly, it's not our core competency anyways. Most of you are better at people than doing paperwork. All right, that's your first assistant. But let's move on to level 3. You know, what about this? I want to tell you this, okay? If you're a level 3 team and you're thinking about bringing on more than just a transaction coordinator, congratulations, or not, you are now a business owner, whether you like it or not. You are a business owner. Most of you are great agents, but most of you are not great business owners or managers. And this is something that you must grow into. You must grow into. We sometimes have big heads and big egos. Oh, I'm a great agent. I won this award, that award at my office. I'm so great. But that does not mean you are a good business owner or a good manager. These are different skill sets. Great agents, you're really good at pleasing your clients usually. That's a skill, no question about it. Usually those of you that are disc profiles, usually the eyes are really good at this, right? You're really good with people, right? Or the D's also, find a way, hey, I want to get things done for you. I'm going to get things done for you. But business owner and manager, it's really different. Of course, your S and C's are, you come at it at a different angle where, hey, I'm organized, I'm going to get things done for you. Nothing wrong with any of these personality traits. But business owner, let me go there. The first question you need to ask yourself is, okay, is my shop in order? Am I really ready to bring on somebody? Where is this person going to sit? Do I have any space? Because suddenly there's 2 of you now, at least, right? Is my technology set up? Am I set up in Command? Or is this person going to help me set up Command? That's fine too. But things such as, do we have a company team? Are you still using Gmail? If you are, you need to get off that. That's really, in my opinion, very unprofessional. You should at least have a KW1 or something professional. So you can get them a KW1, that works. Do you have another team email you want to use? And what are you going to do when they leave? I got an email today and one of the agents that hasn't been on my team for a couple of years from one of my clients, right, in my sphere, and they were emailing and talking to him. I said, hey, so-and-so moved on, decided to go solo, but I'm here for you, right? If I didn't have that set up, I would have missed that lead. And they would just gone into ether, would have bounced, and this client would have, oh, I guess they're out of business, right? You got to think about these things, right? If someone leaves me, how am I going to lock down all my systems so they're not downloading all my clients out of all of my files out of my Dropbox, right? You got to think about these things, right? You got to build your system. A payroll, that's another thing you got to set up. Do I use ADP? Do I use QuickBooks? What do I use? You need to get payroll up and running. Then you got to get insurance, workers' comp. What if this person falls and gets hurt in your office, right? These things are, you got to, get that. What if they get sick? What if they, get injured at one of your events? Got to get insurance. You need to talk to your accountant or your lawyer. Should I get incorporated? Most likely, yes, because suddenly you have all this liability, right? Is your shop in order? Because you need to start managing your numbers. I know a lot of you agents, really easy, Schedule C, right? I get this much GCI. Here's all my expenses. This is my revenue. Really easy when you're by yourself. But now you need to talk about profit and loss. You need to look at what's coming in, what's going out, because you're now paying an assistant, and you need to make sure you're profitable end of the month. You're running a business now, right? This is like the movie The Lorax. Onesie, you're running a business now, right? We're a business owner, right? These are things you got to get set up before you proceed, because you could be making a loss every single month, and you'll scratch your head when you talk to your accountant, and the year you go, why did I do this? I'm actually making less money now. You need to manage these numbers at least monthly to look at the P&L. At least the system needs to do that. So either your accountant or somebody needs to set this up for you. And then there's process and procedures and training. We are horrible at this. We hire an assistant and we just hope they can read our minds. And I'm guilty. I've hired them and I'm too busy to train them. I just expect them to read my mind and know what I need. It's not going to work. You need to spend the time to train them, or they're never going to know what to do. And so process and procedures are important. Again, if you're not good at this, you need to have meetings with your assistant to sit down and go, all right, hey, I'm going to data dump everything out of my head into this. And so I need you to write it all down and create a procedure for me. That's okay. That's part of an assistant's job, is help you maybe build a system. That's okay. You just need to know where you are in your system, because so many of us are so good at what we do. It's in our head. It's like riding a bike, but the other person has no idea especially if you're hiring somebody brand new. How are they supposed to know as soon as the house goes into pending that you want a sold writer up? Well, that when the house is sold, that the sign needs to come down. And who's supposed to order these signs? And how do I do it? They don't know. Yeah, you know how to do it, but they don't know how to do it. And so you need to really help them get these processes and procedures and help train them so that they're successful. Because I've seen too many agents hire the assistant and get all upset. Oh, my assistant sucks, blah, blah, blah. But was it really they sucked, or was it because you didn't spend the time to train them? That's important. And also coaching, right? We also need to coach our folks, our team. We can't just hire them and expect them to start performing. We need to spend time on this. So again, is your shop in order? You are now a business person. This is Reid Hoffman, one of my favorite people. I work with him at LinkedIn, founder of LinkedIn and part of the PayPal mafia, as they call it. An entrepreneur is someone who jumps off a cliff and builds a plane on the way down, his or her way down. And I like this because I don't expect you to have your shop in order. Right? And I think it's okay if you're realistic with yourself and to tell your new assistants, like, hey, my shop is not in order. This is why I hired you, to help me get my shop in order. And that's okay. But you just need to be realistic where you are. And we're all entrepreneurs. Nothing's going to be perfect. Nothing's going to be perfect. Hopefully your assistant helps you. Either they help you or they hire someone to help you get these systems up and running. That's okay as well. Now, the other assistant, the first one that's really easy to hire would be, not easy, but one that you'll probably need, is a marketing/administrative assistant. They could do both, or you can have 2 people or 1.5 people for this. But this first admin is the most important hire that you will ever make. Most important hire. This person is going to offload you so you can do more revenue generating activities. So for example, if you're, and I'm kind of suffering through this a little bit because of COVID, I let go of the admin in the office. So I've gone virtual on the virtual admin front. So, I still sometimes go and I'm, stapling listing agreements and all that, listing package and all that. That takes 15, 20 minutes to do. not good, right? And so once things kind of settle down a little bit, I'm going to get back on this as well. But this person needs to offload you. This person needs to protect your calendar. This person needs to free you up so you're focusing on meeting with clients, negotiating deals, and getting more deals, not stapling your listing agreements together or cleaning the office or doing those kinds of things or deciding if this marketing piece looks good or not. Not really important. I mean, it is important, but this person needs to be able to handle that. Again, you need to train them. This is how I like my marketing. It needs to look like this. It should not have any typos. These are my expectations. And once they get going, you don't need to be approving these things all day. They need to handle the marketing, get the listing preparation up. They should be able to coordinate your listings, for example, schedule inspections, pay your bills, run your CMAs, download disclosures. They should be able to do all this office stuff for you. Clean your office, make sure your meeting, manage your calendar, check your email maybe to make sure you're not missing anything important from a lead. This person can do all of this. If you don't hire an admin, well, you are the admin. Remember that. Pay them, give them a salary. So what we've discovered with administrative assistants personality profiles, they tend to be S&Cs on the DISC profiles, for those of you KW folks that know that particular portion. So they actually err on the side of safety. They're not like us. We're okay with flying by the seat of our pants and getting paid a commission and getting the upside. They generally are not of that personality type. They prefer safety rather than that variable, I don't know if I'm going to get paid. And so what you do is you pay them a salary and then a bonus per deal, for example, bonus end of the year and maybe a bonus per deal. And they're okay with that. And then when you sum it all up, just like a package, but they do prefer more salary than bonus or per deal bonus. Something you can think of there. Now this is a tough thing in the Bay Area, Silicon Valley specifically. I found that if you are trying to get an admin for 25, basically let's say between 40 to 50K a year, you may not get the talent you want. Going up to 60, 70, you'll get better talent. And then even beyond that, you'll get even better talent. So again, you got to kind of figure out what you want to do there. The other option, which is not in the slide, which I need to bring up, is there's actually an interim step between this. You could try the virtual assistant route as well, which they're generally about $10 an hour and out of Asia and generally, and you could leverage that and to kind of tune your systems to try to get before you hire this particular person. So you could go TC, VA, and then this administrator as well. So that's another step in the middle. Talk to me or the office, Stacy, Laura, or I can walk you through how to do that to get that hire. So we actually are running with 3 VAs right now. We're so busy, we have VAs from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day, including the weekends, because you guys know how it is. We're always working, right? And we've detected that if our VAs go offline, then on the weekend, suddenly we're running CMAs and downloading disclosures or running the open house and all that jazz. I just wanted someone to deal with it. So we have TC and 3 VAs running right now on my team specifically. Again, I mentioned this earlier, try to hire assistants as you can. At some point, you're not going to be able to drive everybody around, and that's what we'll talk about next. But try to hire as many assistants as you can before you hire that first agent. Some mistakes, we all live and learn. Establishing a 3-month probation period. This is something that you should do because they might not like you, you may not like them, and we might as well get a probation just in case. So we can say, hey, I'm not sure this is working. You want to be careful of the hiring assistant who really wants to be an agent because that becomes very short term. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but you're going to be pouring into your assistant and then they're just going to go become an agent. So I had that happen before as well. Nothing wrong with that, but again, just be aware because you don't want to pour into somebody and then 6 months later they become an agent. Then you got to pour into another person. Right? You got to be aware of your time because that's very time consuming to train an assistant. Ensuring a fit. You got to invest your time in interview, getting references, and then taking personality tests. We can help you with that. We have the KPA and DISC that Stacy can set up for you. These are personality profiles. And there's actually a career visioning class coming up. Highly suggest you go to that. Teaches you how to pick talent. This is really important. If you pick the wrong person, it's really tough. And sometimes we agents are so nice. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. We don't really want to fire anybody. And so it's really important that you make the right hire up front. So run a personality test on them and then a DISC profile. So if you are a high I, for example, which is you're really good with people, you care what people think, and you hire an assistant that's a D and super dominant, they'll start overpowering you. You kind of need to be aware of that. If the assistant doesn't have any S&C, meaning they're not really organized, then that may not be the right fit, right? So again, there's nothing wrong with being dominant, but if they don't have the S&C skills with the compliance and all that, you might be in a world of pain as far as the person that you're hiring. Again, not saying it's wrong, but generally we find S&Cs to be really good admins, right? Assistants to help you. Also, underpaying, I mentioned this earlier, you get what you pay for. And so if you pay more, you get better resources on that. And then investing the time to train them. Your assistant's ceiling should be as high as yours. So remember, you're starting to build an empire. You're now a business owner. And you're hiring this first hire assistant to build an empire with you. And so they better be able to grow just like you're growing. If they have limits, then your business is going to be limited. This is a nice quote that I got out of Family Union right before COVID. Some lessons learned. I made my mistakes. I didn't follow the book. I hired out of order. So I hired a buyer's agent first. And I tried to lower the splits on them and all that because they were newer. And that was because I was trying to protect the commission and the time I was using to train them. In the end, I don't think they were extremely happy about that. They were newer, but everyone wants to be able to do well as well. I could have leveraged an admin more instead of trying so hard to kind of protect commission with a new buyer's agent, which I had to spend a lot of time training anyways. I also did that part-time agent the part-time assistant that wanted to be an agent. She started getting so busy with her agent stuff that she wasn't really my assistant anymore. And she felt bad, I felt bad, but at that time we knew we had to bring in somebody else. And then I'm not fully sold on this as well. Again, not everyone's designed to be an agent. I found there's some assistants that switch over to be an agent and they don't always have the personality fit to do it. Now, I'm not saying everybody, but because they're so S&C personalities, they're all about compliance and fun. Hey, Alan, give me a blueprint and I'll do it. I've been able to get that particular assistant doing really well as an agent. But as soon as things kind of deviate away from the manual, they kind of get a little flustered. Like, ooh, I don't know what to do because they're so methodical and systematic and step by step. But those of you that are agents, you know that there's nothing about this business that's not 100% of it step by step. Right? You'll get these weird things that come at you and you have to deal with it. You have to figure out how to be creative. And I've discovered that's not always 100% personality fit. Okay. Again, I'm generalizing. Not everyone's the same. And then we are too busy to invest our time. And hey, we're to blame on that one. And I talked about this again, right? We got to make sure that the first admin is somebody who can help you take things to the next level rather than just support. The VA staff, I've discovered really good support. You tell me what to do step by step and do it. Your admin needs to be able to set things up. Hey, admin, this process is completely broken. I don't know what's wrong with it. Every time we do this, it's broken. I need you to create a system to do that. And I don't want to sit here and give you steps 1 through 20 on how to do it. I need you to build steps 1 through 20. That's your first admin. That admin is a powerful person who can do it on their own with very little supervision. And then you grow to a level 4 team. All right, you've got your transaction coordinator, you've got your marketing / administrative assistant, and then you've got you. All right, you've kind of burned through your admin. So let's say you're good now. All the office is set up, marketing's flowing, the systems are flowing, the paperwork is flowing. Now you just can't drive everyone around anymore on the weekends. You guys all know what I'm talking about. I used to have 3 blocks of time on Saturday and Sunday. All right, I have from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. slot. I've got 11:30 to 2 p.m., got 2:30 to 5 p.m. Which slot do you want? So if you look at that schedule, I can do 6 buyers the entire weekend, maybe, to show homes to, right? And that's it. That's all you can do. You can't show anymore. So if you have a lot of buyers, then that's it, right? That's all you can do. And by the way, we would prefer to go get more listings too. That's also important. So if your entire weekend is filled and you're not going to see your family, you're going to be exhausted, driving everywhere, eating your Subway sandwich, 30 minutes between meetings, it's rough. There comes a point where physically you cannot do it anymore. Right? I want to introduce you to the concept of the rainmaker. So the leader of the team is called the rainmaker in the Keller Williams system. The rainmaker is the one that brings in all the business. And that's the value the rainmaker brings. Because you know why. Everybody on this call knows why. Bringing in the business is actually the hardest part. Anyone can be trained to take something from pending to close. Anybody could do that, honestly, because those are all steps. But bringing in the business is extremely difficult. I want to talk about the buyer's agent's role. There are a few things buyer's agents should do. I don't really like this opening doors, but I guess you could do the showing specialist thing and have them open doors. That's kind of what they do when they start out. So if you have a newer agent, you might want to pay them by the hour or something to just do that. I don't personally find a lot of value in opening doors. And those of you on this call, again, whether hopefully you're not from Redfin, but the reason why we're killing Redfin is that they have door openers. So when someone clicks the app, there's a door opener that comes and opens the door, and they try in 10 minutes to develop rapport with this person and convert them to a client. I mean, come on. And they tend to be the newest agents with the newest license number. So they don't know anything. And so they go there and then, everyone's, the guard's up, there's no trust, right? I just clicked the app. I just wanted to see the house. I don't know who you are. And I'm asking you questions. You don't know anything. So this idea of a showing specialist, I know KW does embrace. I'm very cautious about this because I believe that it is very important to build that relationship with your client all the way through. So from the first consultation to showing homes to closing. And that's why my team has buyer's agents. We have not hired a showing specialist because I find that role to be really, I'm sorry, useless in a sense of losing trust of your client, not adding a lot of value. So if you're doing it, that's fine. And maybe you can tell me why it's working for you, but I'm not doing that on my team. My buyer's agents are showing homes and they're the point of contact. But again, you got to drive them around and see homes. That's part of the job. I know a lot of you may be sending your clients to open houses. I think that's another mistake. If you wonder why your clients are leaving you, it's because you're not doing anything. You're not showing them homes. You're just sending them to open houses, where one of our open house agents will poach them because they don't think you're doing anything. Remember, you make 2.5%. Okay. That's a lot of money. You sell 5 homes, you make a tech engineer's salary. You all need to start working. And that's the bottom line. If you're not driving your customers around and see homes, I'm sorry, you're not doing your job. I mean, you need to go show homes. You need to be running a CMA for your clients, analyzing it and telling them what you think the house is worth. You need to advise them on offers. And most importantly, right, you need to go and tell them, hey, this is a competition. This is what it looks like. This is what I believe we should be doing. What are your thoughts? And then advise them. You have to explain to them what a non-contingent offers means. You need to tell them, is it safe to do that or not? Okay. You also need to review the disclosures. So many of you agents forward the link over and go, let me know if you have any questions. What do these buyers know about reading this giant 100-page package? Absolutely nothing. You read this every day. Read it, summarize it, explain it to them, have a meeting, go through it. This is your job. Okay, your job. And I'm telling you, when the lawsuits come and you didn't see that foundation was undermined, you're going to be paying. So you might as well do it now, right? You all need to work, right? We all need to work. Got to earn that 2.5% commission. We need to schedule inspections. You need to be present for the inspections. You need to be there with your buyer and help them. Hey, sometimes you got to fly interference a little bit, right? You got to ask the right questions. The structural engineer is talking about, oh, we got to redesign this foundation, $100,000. You got to ask them a question. Well, hey, if this was your house, what would you do on this list? Well, I'd probably do 1, 3, and 5. 2 and 4 can wait. How long? I probably can wait 10 years. Okay, so at least you can remove 2 and 4 from the list, right? You got to ask the right questions to keep your buyers at ease. If there's a $100,000 problem, there's a $100,000 problem. You better help them get out of it or negotiate. It is what it is, right? But maybe it's not as big an issue as the inspector is saying. You need to help them navigate through that. You need to go to the sign-off. I go to all the sign-offs, buyer, seller. Very important. I had a client sign off in Florida, and I called him because I couldn't fly to Florida, but I called him, and then he goes, oh, I'm so glad you called because I had a bunch of questions how to fill this out. They don't know what they're doing. And if we just leave them with the notary who doesn't know anything either, they're not feeling good about the sign-off. You need to be there, be present. And again, I asked the title company how many agents actually go to sign-offs. They said very low percentage. Need to go to the sign-offs. You need to do your walkthroughs before closing. Why? What if something's broken? You need to find out. Things break all the time. The water heater's down, the furnace is down, and then your client moves in and it was broken. You could have forced the seller to fix it at that time. You didn't do your walkthrough, so you didn't know, and the seller's gone. They can care less now because they got their money, right? That's what the walkthrough is for. You need to hand off the keys. Okay, don't send them to the combo box. Hand off the keys. Take a beautiful picture for social media. Make it a celebration. Bring them a closing gift, right? Make it fun. Don't this log box. Don't be lazy, right? It's the lazy folks in this business that aren't going to succeed. It's all about hard work. And then you got to manage crises. You got to do that. A couple models that I go with the buyer's agents. One is full empowerment. I have agents on my team. I fully trust them. After the consultation meeting, I let them run. I don't even get involved at all. They might call me, hey, Alan, could you host a strategy meeting? Maybe I'll do that. And then sometimes you do the doctor model, which is, hey, buyer's agent, this is a really good friend of mine. We're going to have the consultation together. and you're going to go show them houses. When they want to write an offer, pull me in. I want to have the strategy meeting with them because these are my friends. Right? So you might do kind of, they're the nurse, you're the doctor, right? You might do it that way. But it just depends on how you want to do that. Then there's different levels of agents. There might be a brand new rookie agent, mid-level, or senior agent. As far as joining teams are concerned, I want you to be careful. You may not want to get a solo agent who's doing really well. Because if they're performing really well, chances are they don't really need to be on your team. So you need to really figure out why they want to join your team if they're doing well on their own. And that may not be the best fit. Also, there's a huge learning curve, right? So if you have a brand new agent or mid-level agent, you got to see how much time do I have to spend to get this person up to speed. A good candidate would be someone who's doesn't lead generate easily, who's having trouble with that, but you're good at that, obviously, but they are able to close business really consistently. So that's a good candidate for that. And then somebody who would actually prefer a steady paycheck, because if you're a rainmaker, you're bringing in a lot of business. If they're solo, it's up and down. They're not able to generate a consistent income. So you can provide them that. Hey, if you're on my team, you don't have to pay any of the expenses. I'm taking care of the marketing, the office, all that. And I'm giving a steadier flow of business. You get a steady paycheck. They like that. Some people want the safety, right? Then they could be solo. Right? They don't have to set up the systems or manage a business. They don't want to deal with that. They just want to close deals and work with clients. These are the best fits. And I talked about the expenses as well. And then they can service leads, from search to closing, right? And they're trainable, right? So you got to find the right person. I've made mistakes here of hiring some of the folks. I'll talk about that. You might want to start hiring if you're too busy to handle your buyer business. Time to get a buyer's agent. They take a lot of time. You know that. You could be lead generating or getting more listings. Remember, listings leads leverage, right? Getting more listings gets you more business. You need to get those signs up in the yard. You might need to be focusing on that. Free up some time, weekends, maybe you can see your family. Right? But if you leverage, you both make more money, right? You get your half, they get their half. Everyone makes more money because you can't do it all. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is money, 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 money. So KW already pioneered this. If you join Keller Williams, or those of you that are here and you join a team, you get a half cap, right, versus the full cap. For those of you that are on Keller Williams, we have you're capped on commission. If you join a team, you get half cap, because we know that you're splitting with your rainmaker. And so typically the new agent split, it could be lower than 50-50, because if you're brand new, there's a lot of energy that we have to pour into you. And so it may not exactly be a 50-50 split, but that's something you have to discuss with your rainmaker. And then usually you work up a tier. I would highly advise that, hey, get X amount of deals, we'll bump you up. We'll get X amount of deals, we'll bump you up, right? And you have to achieve these milestones to hit the next level. So mid-level and senior agents, what I've seen is, so generally there's a 50-50 split. And why is that? Especially for your leads as a rainmaker, you need to earn your half, because it is hard to generate business and you need to be rewarded for half as a rainmaker. And then folks that are joining a team, you need to respect the fact that it is very difficult to get business. And those of you on this call know this. And so the rainmaker deserves their half for their leads. Now, if you have mid-level, the more senior agents, I would advise you, if they bring in their own leads, for you, that's just a cherry on top. So the way I run that is, okay, fine. You've been doing this a long time. You could probably go on your own. I'll only take 25% of the business that you bring in, so that they get more on their deals, their leads. That way they'll stay with you longer. I've seen people not happy with that. Now remember, rainmaker pays the agent fees, the marketing, the rent, the events, the office equipment, the assistant and transaction coordinator, technology. Sometimes we make less money per deal, actually, because we have so many expenses. So the agents joining the team, you need to respect that as well. You're not putting anything out of your pocket. You're plugging in. You don't have to set anything up. You don't have to spend the time to do that. The rainmaker has a system. Some lesson learned. I say if you're going to hire somebody, the number one thing you need to do is interview them for worth ethic and hire. If you heard me say anything on this call, you heard me say things like lazy, agents aren't doing their job. And it's true, because the ones that work the hardest are the ones that do well in this business. This is not a free business where you just kind of cruise along. Those are the ones that are really, you need to find somebody who's willing to work. You want to find that person. You don't always necessarily want to hire the rock star either, right? The rock star actually, I told you, does not necessarily belong on a team, because they're going to be on your team and they're going to be unhappy in a year. Because, oh, yeah, I want to be your right hand, but then you can tell they're not willing to do what it takes to be your right hand. So think people like that superstars aren't always the people you want, actually. You want to find someone that meshes well. There's a reason why they need to be on your team, right? And some of them, of course, when they're new, everyone wants to be on your team. And then when they make it, they're gone, right? So you pour it into these 1 year folks, and then they learn everything and they leave, right? You don't necessarily want that either. You need to look for that. So that why for the team is really important. And I've noticed it's funny because when folks talk to me, it's, oh yeah, I want to join your team. I want to join your team. I'm looking and go, well, why do I want you on my team? What are you going to do for us? And it's a two-way street, right? It can't just be a win-lose. What do you bring to the table? You have to bring something to the table as well, right? So there has to be a win-win, win-win or no deal, right? Are they worth the investment? Right? Are you just going to train this person? They're just going to leave you a year from now, take everything they learn, and just keep bouncing around? Or are they worth it? Right? I mean, you have to ask yourself that question. I've had plenty of people I've trained and they just ran off, and you're like, oh, why did I pour that 1 or 2 years into them? It is what it is. It's business, right? But you have to see that they're worth it. They're going to be a big part of helping you build the empire you're trying to build. I talked about listing leads, leverage, but that's the big spot here. I know we're running a little bit out of time. I'm going to blast a little bit quickly through here so I get your questions. Stay with me about 5 minutes after, okay? Fifth level team. Again, listing specialist. This is when you are, okay, I got the buyer's agent running. I need to go and get more business, or I've got so much listing business that I can't deal with it. I'm still here, actually. I'm still working, sort of here. I'm still here, kind of in between these two levels. I'm still trying to get our listing business off the ground. That's what I'm doing. But this is where you have so many listings coming in that you need a listing specialist to help out. And so what does a listing specialist do? You go on listing appointments, secure the listing, prepare the listing for sale, manage the vendors, host open houses, ideally if they can. Otherwise, you can get people in the office if you're too busy. Negotiate the contract, manage the closing, sign off, manage the handoff, and manage crises. Okay, listing specialist. Sorry, rookie agents, this is not necessarily you. Listings are very difficult to manage, and it takes some experience to figure out how to deal with it. I would reserve this for mid-level and senior agents. You'll learn a lot more on the buyer side, and then you can transition over to this side of the house. Listings are not made for everybody, by the way. Listings are hard. They're hard. Sellers are a pain to manage. It takes a lot of experience to do this. It's about pricing, being confident, managing emotions, much more than buyers. Buyers, you can control the process generally. You kind of know before they put in, they're going to lose. You kind of know already. You can't control the market on the listing side. It's about setting expectations properly, right? That's a skill. And so that's something that's why listings are so hard. Alan does this a little different than KW. I hired two-way players. So my mid-level senior agents, they can represent buyers or sellers. And this is Clay Thompson. It's definitely not James Harden. He can't play defense. Clay Thompson is a two-way player. He can play defense. He can play offense. So I've got our team. They can do listings. They can do buyers. And then I'm just going to talk quickly about these two because I'm not here yet. So I'm not going to dive too much into it. The ultimate vision is that you become the CEO of the team in level 6, and you got your listing agent going to get listings, got your buyer's agent representing buyers or multiple folks, you got your system running, and you're the CEO. You're literally just monitoring numbers and seeing how the business is doing, and you've kind of stepped off the business, and you're not directly involved day to day. You are the CEO. This is only a level that I want to get to for sure on that one. But level 7, more importantly, I want to get to the point where I am the owner, and I hire my own CEO to run the company, and I'm just kind of a founder, and I do as little or as much as I want, and that's where I want to be. All right, 2 minutes from being done. Woo! We started 5 minutes late. Questions? How many people we have left on the Zoom here? Let me see. I know that was a lot. Hang in there. We have 22 folks, so if you want to just unmute and say something, I'm okay with that because that's not too many people. All right, jumping in with your questions.
Hi, Alan. This is Myrna.
Hi, Myrna.
For the virtual assistants, can you hire them for like 20 hours, 10 hours? How does that work?
Probably. I don't know. So I'll have to check with the company that I use on that one. But I'm sure you can. There's got to be able to do that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, $10 an hour. I mean, and I'm telling you, they work hard. They really value their jobs because where they are, $10 an hour is a lot of money. And so they really work hard, but you got to find the right person too. And not all of them are fit.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Next question. Wow, did I cover everything? There's no questions? Let's see if there's anybody on the chat here. How do you feel about a virtual assistant? Yes, Donna, I talked about that. I have 3 of them. I love it. It's just like anything, you got to find the right people and you got to train them properly. And there's some learning curves. It's not always easy, but hey, what's easy, right? But we could talk more about that. I can head over to your office and talk about Onboarding documents. Yeah, there's some I can share with you, Kevin. Do you have any onboarding documents for the various roles? Between myself and Stacy, I'm sure we can find templates for you to at least reduce some of that work.
Very great.
Yes.
Yeah. So Alan, I mean, I'm
Yes.
thinking about the different companies that you use. Do they already kind of have some of those responsibilities to find out for real estate agents in general? Just say, hey, you know, this is the role that you do, and this is what you should produce, and here are the metrics that we track for you. Is it kind of outsourced that much, or do you kind of have to build it your own?
I think you still have to define your responsibilities. Every one of us are a little quirky, a little different, right? So I think it's important for you to just spend the time and put a few bullets together. I mean, Stacy and I can dig up what we have at Keller Williams. We have some kind of starting template for an admin, and you can go and tweak it from there.
Cool. Thank you.
Alan,
Yes.
this is Donna.
Hey, Donna.
Hi, so I'm using Spear Rocket, and my virtual assistant is $3 an hour. So it's 120 bucks a week, but I do, because he does so much for me,
Yeah.
I do give him a bonus, and he knows because he keeps track of my production spreadsheet as well. And he gets excited when we close him, he knows he'll get a bonus.
Yeah.
Totally loyal, 40 hours a week. And he's doing business and personal things as well. So you're right. And the virtual assistant, totally affordable, right? At $3, and that's 120 bucks a week.
Yeah.
And it's working out really.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this one, it's done through oh God, what's his name? Laura, what's his name? Justin. He used to be a KW agent that started this business.
Yeah, I've heard.
So the people are trained on KW,
Yeah.
you know, and so that helps a ton as too.
Yeah, the company that I use, and well, just email me, I'll introduce you. They're at 10 an hour, which is pretty darn good. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's got a good system too. So you guys can reach out to me, and then we can go from there. But again, make sure you're leading with revenue on this one. You better be making good income to hire this person. I mean, if you're barely scraping a few deals a year, I don't think it's worth hiring a virtual assistant. But definitely, if you're heading up there and you know that it's going to free up your time to get more business, then that's a good time to do that. Do they update your CRM? Yes, Maureen, they'll do anything you want. My team, I don't have time to update my CRM, so I go, hey, put this in there, update them, new listing lead, update my pipeline. They can do anything you ask them to do as long as you tell them how to do it. Before forming a team, you excel as a solo agent. Is it possible to hear that side of the story? Is there a chance? Hi, Karen, June. What do you want to know about that, Karen or June? Specifically, that's a big question. I don't know how to help with that. I will say that I kind of had a knack for kind of what I knew a system was going to work. So I already, you know, I got my website. I used the CRM, and this was way before Command. I followed the process there, and so that's something that I always knew that I needed to do. And so I used social media, Friendster at the time. For those of you that really dates me, but yeah, I used Friendster at the time to market to I only had 300 friends at the time, and that was my database in addition to an email database. And so I would send a newsletter every quarter out to those folks, and then I would send them, you know, every time I had a new listing, I would send it to them. So yeah, that's kind of the way I did that, and that was just about getting business. But yeah, I pretty much did everything. That's the part that I learned to stop doing. Right? Why am I nailing these signs into the grass? I need to hire somebody to do that, right? And so I got a company to do that. But eventually, that's kind of how I got. I'm not sure that helps you. Is there anything else, Karen, I can answer for you on that? Other questions? Got another minute, maybe. I know we were 5 minutes over, so I stayed late. So,
hi, Alan. This is Tina. Quick question.
hey, Tina.
So you mentioned you got 10 or 12 deals a year, and you're already very hardworking. Is that a certain income level or deal numbers? Over that number, you think it might be a good idea to get help?
Yeah, I mean, I think the general rule of thumb is, I mean, the virtual assistant's so affordable, right? So it may be, I don't have a magic number, but I would say if you're, I mean, the virtual assistant's so affordable. So let's say, I mean, you're a 75, 100, you know, the VA is probably okay, right, to hire because you're making good money. Over 100, 150K, then, you know, you could think about getting that, the full-time assistant as well. The VA is a good way to kind of get things started, right? Help you set up systems and help you, you know, okay, I got to train this person, and then the next admin can maybe help you do it better. But yeah, I mean, I would say definitely at 150K, it's time to get a full-time assistant. And again, their goal is to double your GCI to 300, right? That person better, well, 50, yeah, they better double your production, right? That admin should do that. That's the rule of thumb at KW. They should be doubling your GCI. At least.
Can I add to that a little bit, Alan? Do you mind?
No, I don't.
I would also say you definitely start with a transaction coordinator first and make sure that you're leveraging off that first. And then usually the rule of thumb is once you're getting to 2 deals a month is when you're really starting to need some help. So let's get you to 12 deals, which is once a month, 12 a year. And then once we're going from 12 to 24, we start having conversations about what other types of leverage you need in addition to a transaction coordinator.
1 deal a month is amazing, especially with the the GCI is being paid out right now. That's a good metric, Laura. I like that. I've always told people, hey, if you can do 1 deal a month, I mean, you're doing solid. And the question is, what's the next step? Yeah, it's a good one. All right, any last questions? We're about a minute over our 5-minute buffer for Zoom. Going once, going twice. Thank you, everybody. Have an amazing day.
Thank you, Alan.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. Bye now.